What's up, guys? Hey, just gonna share some more testimonies of things I've experienced with gang stalking. I told a friend, Steven of mine, that I would include a portion of this about, he's making a video basically on like some visual things that you might experience in gang stalking. And I was on the phone with him one time and I had mentioned, something that I experienced that was really kind of strange. I don't know how they did it. And I'm just gonna tell, more so what happened during this day, because I think it's, first of all, it's kind of a crazy sequence of events that shows there's definitely like a spiritual component to all this. And also for that other reason I mentioned, this is going to include a portion where Steven's going to use a clip from this. So I'll just kind of tell basically a timeline story of over 2 days where things were just really intense. And this was kind of leading up to me going back and like really getting serious about my walk with God. Like at this point I had backslidden and I was really bad back on drugs, fentanyl and some meth too, mostly fentanyl. And things were just really, really bad, with as far as like spiritual attacks, and the gang stalking. It was just like probably heavier than it's ever been, and more consistent. So I'll just start out like how I kind of ended up where I was at. I ended up in this trap house without my car keys, and what happened is like I went to work and I worked with some other people that did drugs, and I knew these people at varying different levels, right? Some I was pretty familiar with, I had been around for a while, and then other people were like I didn't know them. So I had lost my keys at work, and I ended up going back with some of the people I was working with because they were like basically two of them lived at this trap house, and I knew other people that lived there too. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll go with them. I'll be able to, buy what I need, and I'll figure it out from there. And so we left work. We stopped at this gas station. We were there for like maybe like 15 minutes, just kind of talking and BSing. And I had mentioned, to some of these people what I'd been experiencing again, because I knew these people some of them when I was clean as well, and I told them about some of the demonic experiences and the gang stalking that I've experienced. And then I told them all this stuff's starting to happen to me again. Some of them were aware of it. And so we're sitting there at the gas station. It's like a bunch of activity there as far as people doing weird stuff. Like people were in the parking lot, but they just stand around and just kind of watch, and like every person that walks by is like turning around to like look in the windshield into the car. And we weren't doing nothing, like nothing going on. It's not even like a sketchy vehicle or anything like that. We're in a nice part of Seattle, kind of like the rich side. And so nothing's going on, but I was noticing it, but I wasn't saying anything about it because I'm just like, okay, I'm used to that, it's not really, I'm just kind of like laughing about it, in my head. And then it was happening so much that one of them actually mentioned, it's like, why is everyone like keep looking and staring and watching? And I was like, I told you guys, this stuff's real. And so I didn't even bring it up, they brought it up. So this wasn't me all tripped out on drugs. So anyways, make it up to this trap house, and it's like, it's just a bad vibe there. they're like constantly fighting, this couple that lives there. There's another person in the house that I don't know, and he's like having like prostitutes come through, and it's just like really grimy really grimy feel to it. So at one point, like, I go outside and I'm just hearing like weird stuff, like someone screaming and just weird stuff coming from the neighbors, right? And it's hard to even describe some of this. You guys know if you've been through it. Like, it's really heavy at this point. And anyways, I'm kind of there because I'm like, all right, I'm trying to get drugs, but stuff isn't working out. Like, the guy that usually has drugs there doesn't have it. And eventually, like, so I'm just like around this like bad atmosphere. Like, this couple's fighting, like pretty gnarly the whole time. I'm at this trap and like there's weird stuff going on, and then stuff starts progressing a bit. Like, eventually, one of the guys that I was coolest with was one of my coworkers. Like, I actually, you know, pretty much trusted him, and I didn't ever get any like, I mean, he's definitely got his struggles and he's really a bad addict, but I think like overall this dude has a pretty good heart, and you know, I trust him a lot more than all these other people. So I was with him. That's kind of why I was there. And it was like his baby mom with it. This is like a Jerry Springer episode. It was like my friend's baby mom, which he wasn't with. She's with another dude at this house. Those are the two that are fighting. And anyways, kind of rambling here, but I'm trying to set the scene. And there's other people at this house too. And so eventually, like, we went to a spot and got our drugs from someone I knew, and then we came back to this house. And I don't have my car, right? This is what set it all off. Like, I wouldn't normally be just kicking it there because I don't like the energy there. Like, it's just bad. And so I'm there. My buddy that I came there with, eventually he falls asleep on the couch, and I'm in the living room, right? He fell asleep on the couch. I'm there, and there's this other guy on the other side of the couch, and there's this movie they watched earlier. I don't remember what movie it was, but it was like the intro scene. You know how it repeats, and you know, before you hit play movie or pick a scene or whatever. I'm sitting here at the red light still. It's been 8 minutes I've been sitting here. Actually longer than that. But the whole time I've been talking, I've been sitting at a red light. That's crazy. So anyways, I'm in this living room. My buddy's asleep, which I find funny. It's like, because I was telling him about this stuff, but he's just spiritually not awake, you know? He's literally asleep. And then we got this other guy on the couch. I don't remember his name. Big old dude. I don't know him. But like dark vibe to this guy. And so at one point, like, we're just sitting there and I don't really got much to say to this dude. You know, I already get weird vibes from him. And then he's like, hey, he's like, you care if I play some music? And I'm like thinking like, no, I don't care, dude, go ahead, you know? And he's like, okay, cool, you're gonna like this one. This is filthy right here. Like, he just starts like, and what's funny is this is like had been prepped up because another guy that I was working with, you know, the baby mama's new boyfriend, he was working with us too, right? He had told me how he was like kind of having troubles with one of the guys that lived there, and it was this guy that wants to play the music. He's like, yeah, he's always playing these demonic raps and I'm sick of it. And so I was like, that was already like a seed planted, right? So I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And then I remember this afterwards, right? So dude starts playing this music, and it's like no one I've ever heard. And this song he starts playing, he's like, oh, this is filthy. And then literally like all the lyrics were like very abrasive. Like, it felt like towards me. And if you guys have been through this, you guys know what I'm talking about, when it feels like something's tailored to you. And anyways, I remember in the lyrics, like, this whole song is just pissing me off, and because it feels like the whole thing's a threat. And it's like riding around the city till we find you, we're gonna kill you, all this stuff. Like it's just like a gang stalking song, right? And I'm just like I listened to this whole thing just like stewing And then the song ends, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna play another one. I said, no, you're not. I was like, you ain't playing shit. And this dude's like big, you know, but like I had this, like, I was just shut this down, like, and I was like, because I knew it was like a demonic attack that was going on. And so this is when like the atmosphere started kind of changing around there, because he's like, yeah, he's like, what do you mean? I'm gonna play another song. I said, you're not playing. I was like, dude, check it out, you're not playing another song. I was like, in Jesus' name, you ain't playing nothing else. And he's like, I don't believe in God. I said, that don't matter. It's like, I was like, you're not playing any more music. Like, so basically, like, I prayed out loud, and then he starts trying to get me to let him play the song. And it's like, mind you, this is not my house. This dude like lives here, but like spiritually, I think he needed me to allow him to play the song. It was a weird thing. So he's like, I'm still at this red light, you guys. This is crazy. I must need to get this out. It's spent 11 and a half minutes. Let me shine my bright lights here. Like, look. Anyways. So I'm like, you're not playing this. And he goes, I could play it if I wanted to. And I said, but you're not though, right? I was like, you're not going to play it. And he's like, I could if I wanted to. He kept like saying that. And I'm like, but you're not playing any more music. Like, I was like telling this dude, like, that stuff is not getting played around me. Like, and I never got like into details with him, like why or anything. And he never asked why, which is weird, right? It's like, if normally it would be like, what's wrong with the music? Or like, it wasn't like any of that. It was just like, he wanted to play it and I was telling him no. And he was like arguing me about not being able to play it. So it was like, I'm just thinking of that now. That's kind of weird. Is this a weird situation? So, like, stuff kind of got weird with this dude. Like, he's getting a little more aggressive, and I'm like, and dude, I'm telling you, this guy's like a huge guy. And so like, I'm like not really sure what the limits are, like what he can and can't do, but he's like getting a little more like aggressive, but not like directly threatening me or anything. But he's kind of moving around the house, and he's like pissed off about this music situation. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I'm watching this movie scene, and it's like all this like weird imagery was going on in the back of it, like very spooky. It's like hard to put into words, but it was like in the background of this play scene, it was like a yellowish tan blank screen with like the words of like play, and it had like some music going, like some weird music going, but there was stuff going on like in the background of the scene, like that's not normally there, and I can't really explain it. And it was just like spooky, weird like imagery that would like flash. And then at one point the dog comes over, right? And like, I was like petting this dog earlier, and dude, this dog like comes over to me, and and this stuff was happening a lot with animals, and I don't know what's up with this. I've heard testimonies about you know, certain witchcraft and stuff. They can send you know, human spirits into animals. I know that's crazy, sounds nutty, but yeah, so this dog comes over, and like his eyes are moving so weird, like it was like they were like rolling around, and it freaked me out. I was like, hey, I was like, get out of here. Like, because all this stuff's going on, and I'm saying like this whole like trap house is starting to like kind of attack me, right? So like, I shoo this dog out, it just creeped the crap out of me. And then I'm watching the screen again, and like I said, all this like weird imagery is coming on it, and I'm just weirded out by the whole thing, and I'm stuck there. I feel like I'm stuck. And all of a sudden there's a clip of, in the background, just like I described before with the imagery, but it looked like me in the it looked like a clip from where I used to buy drugs at. I I was at this homeless camp that I used to go to a lot, and it was like off the freeway, and so there's like long tall grass, and it looked like a camera was in there, and it was literally a videotape of me walking through this field, and it looked like it was coming from like a hidden camera that was stuck in there. And I was just like, what in the world? First of all, like, how'd they tape that? And then how'd they get this? It'd be one thing if I saw a clip of it, but I'm saying it's like projected onto a DVD cut screen, you know? It's like, I was just... But I couldn't even really dwell on that because there was so much other stuff going on. That was just like a piece of it, you know? And so... Man, this light's... I've been here for 15 minutes. This is nuts. I gotta figure something out. So, anyways, that girl, my friend's baby mom, they're all fighting this whole time. Like, they're in another room, like, fighting. And at one point, that other guy that I didn't know that was having, like, prostitutes come over, that he was like the dude that was, like, selling dope out of this place, but I'd never met him. This is my first time, like, meeting him. He's an older guy. Again, weird vibes from him. He came out, and I was praying out loud against this guy, and this dude ended up leaving the house, like his own house, left the house. And so my friend's baby mom came out at one point, and she's like, came out and she's like, you're making, and it was just like a weird combo too. She's like, you're making my roommates very angry. And she's like, she kept saying that, and then she's like, she goes, not everyone knows what's going on here. And she said that a couple times, right? And like in her eyes, like it felt like it was a spirit talking through her. And again, some of this stuff I know it's like wild, but there was spiritual things happening in this time, and I'm just doing my best to explain what was physically going on. But yeah, there was other stuff going on as well. So she's like, they don't know what's going on here, and she just was like, kept saying that. And I like kind of got it without talking to her much. I'm just like, okay, like they don't actually see what's going on. They're blind to the spiritual reality. But somehow this girl knew what was up. And I had actually like good conversations with her earlier in the day at work, because she was working with us too. And we were talking about God and just different things about God. And so she had knowledge of God. Definitely, she was around it. She had spiritual knowledge. I could tell, like she wasn't just heard about God. Like, I don't know if she had a relationship with God, but she understood things of the spirit. And so she said that, and then like basically I want to leave at this point, but there was more that God was going to show me. So I'm going to cut this off here. Watch part 2. This is where the next part is where like God starts showing me stuff. So yeah, I got to figure out why this this red arrow ain't turning. But I'll see you guys on the next one.